Welcome, everybody. Brian Wallace here from NowSourcing, talking today here with Brian Solis, who needs no introduction, talking about the South by Southwest Inside Track, with Brian Solis talking about experience, and in my opinion, and I'm sure Brian's opinion as well, one of the best lounges in all of South by Southwest. Would love to talk to you about that and all of your experience throughout South by. And thanks for taking the time to meet with us today, and especially such an early time of day on Monday.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure, honestly. I mean, any chance to talk about the lounge and Tech Set and South by Southwest, I mean, this is the time to start getting excited, isn't it?
Absolutely. I've got my wristbands on already.
Oh, wow. Right on. Well, yeah, so really the lounge, for those who don't know, is... I think we're coming up on year 9. Yep, year 9 now. And we host what used to be called the Blogger Lounge way back in the day. And over the years, it just became known as the Social Media Lounge. And it always started as a place for, the Digerati and the Twitterati, to get together and have a place sort of that we could call headquarters, because the convention every single year was getting larger and more was fanning across the entire city. And we just wanted to give everybody a home base where they can get some electrical outlets, they could get some Wi-Fi, and then also some food and drink and snacks. And then over the years, we just started also programming entertainment so that while you were in the room, you were getting a South by Southwest experience as well. And it just blossomed over the years, and every year we get bigger and bigger, and we have a sponsor that comes aboard to sort of turn it into a branded experience. So this year we have Comcast, and we're excited. It's our first year of doing business together, and it's really the place where if I'm not at a party or at a book signing or at somebody's conference or my own conference, I am in that lounge all day, every day, from Friday to Tuesday.
And I tell everybody about this lounge. This place has been my saving grace, as well as thousands of other people every year, because you're exactly right. Everybody is on overload and their minds are just melting. And you and Stephanie just put together things that may seem like they're super basic, but it's so hard to find a place to just sit down, have coffee, have wired internet, have power, and have a regular amount of speakers and comfortable chairs and all of that. It's so important to have any kind of safe haven, place to clear your mind, because for those of you who haven't been to South by Southwest, it's a madhouse. There's so many thousands of people everywhere. So it's such a great strategic place. So this is going to be the 9th year, huh, man?
Yeah, it's 9th year.
Absolutely.
So, before you ask your next question, I do want to talk real quick about Stephanie, who couldn't join us this morning. She's my business partner in TechSet, and she's also we could call her my work wife, and I'm her work husband, because we have been together doing TechSet events for it's got to be 10 years, and the Tech Set is something that I think is quite special. This is why the lounge maybe has a good vibe, at least maybe that's our hope, is that 10 years ago, it's got to be longer than that, when Web 2.0 was rising, there was a real spirit, camaraderie that was different than Web 1.0. And we were all part of it in our own way. I was blogging, I was writing a lot. Stephanie was active with a lot of startups. And we decided to sort of band together all of our efforts, all of the things that we were watching in the scene, to see if we couldn't build a community around it. And we called it Tech Set, which was a play on the Jet Set, to really bring together those people who were trying to change the world. So it was entrepreneurs, it was folks who were bloggers, photographers. I mean, all of the names all the early names. I mean, people got so big coming out of these things that I don't even know if I can still talk to them. But we would host events in Silicon Valley, Austin, New York, Seattle, Los Angeles, and we would cultivate these communities, and we would be relentless about it. We'd always be touring. We'd always be bringing these people together, and it's sort of credited with starting a lot of the hubs that you see around the country now. And over the years, we got a little bit too much to continue as our respective careers just sort of blossomed. But we will always stay dedicated to once a year at least at South by Southwest. And I think we're even getting a little nostalgic now. Stephanie and I might actually, if we can make it work, start bringing these events back to the cities where they were born and raised. And Stephanie has a lot to do with that. It's her tenacity, it's her ability to bring the right people together, especially with the right supporters. She's just got this gift of just making this thing stay alive, and she is. I wish she was here, but I do want to. I want everybody to recognize sort of her role and her value in making this still rock to this day.
Absolutely. For those of you who haven't met Stephanie, you have to meet up with her this year if you're going to South by. She is a force of nature, as Brian can attest to. And what better work wife could you have than Stephanie? She's incredibly hardworking. I know she's put so much effort in the show over the years. And, such a kudos, many props to you guys for Comcast this year. I think that's a great fit. You talk about customer service and social, Comcast has always been kind of at the forefront of that. So I think that's just such a perfect fit as a sponsor for the lounge. Yeah.
Well, certainly hoping we can help them also feel at a deeper level the spirit of what social is about, right? It's not a technology as much as it is a lifestyle or a way of communication or a way of engagement, and Comcast gets it, right? I mean, that's why they're taking on the TechSet Lounge is sort of an official statement to say we're here, we're part of the community, and not only do we want to host you, but we want to learn from you, and that's I mean, if a company's going to make a move, aside from what perceptions you might have, I mean, that's the kind of move you want to see from every company.
Absolutely. And without getting nostalgic and all that, I mean, I think just to really talk about the power of the lounge, power itself, like actual physical plugging into the wall, is something that people, if you haven't been to South by Southwest, you can't appreciate it until you're at the convention center and everybody's like sitting on the floor, hoping to.
So true.
Right? I mean, it's crazy. Like everybody's just huddled on the floor, like they're lost, like in a 2-day delay for their flight or something, just crowding around these couple of power outlets. So the fact that you guys really crack the nut when it comes to power, when it comes to even just having power food, having a great place to have, meeting all the best people that you already know, that you don't know, celebrity sightings, having regular happy hours. I have yet to find a single place reliably every year, and I've been going since 2009, that has anything even close to what you guys have. So again, insane props to you guys.
Well, there's thanks. It's the experience we want to have. In many cases, you'll have people. I see some names on this thread that would tell you that it's their favorite part of South by Southwest, and it's because of things like that, right? It's the little things, which is why Stephanie and team who prepare a lot of the back end infrastructure for this are. Get a lot of the credit for thinking about what is the experience you want to have, because without it, I mean, for some of us old timers who've been going there for a while, you're exactly right. If you haven't experienced South by Southwest without this lounge, it's a mess, right? And it only gets bigger every year. Things like power, the amount of batteries people have to carry, the thing about the lounge is that there's not just power at every seat. There's tons of seats, tons of table spaces, couches, the programming that we do with live interviews that have celebrities. I think we're going to get back to music this year again, which I hope, fingers crossed, because it was the one thing that brought the artistry we felt of the lounge together. But also the thing about what we do with TechSet is the people. The people are the thing that makes South by Southwest, I think, so special, right? And we had a lot of sponsors over the years who eventually graduate, as we call it, into their own sort of experience, right? So in the past, we've had companies like Microsoft and Samsung and PayPal, and they end up taking over a complete building so that they can host their own, branded experience off-site somewhere in the city. But the one thing that you will never get is, number one, a consistent grouping of the people who are making the internet what it is, right? The memes, the apps, all of the things. I think last year we had the guy who started Meerkat hanging out in the lounge quite a bit. We always have some of your favorite entrepreneurs in there. We have your favorite YouTube stars, your Viners, your Instagrammers. So consistently you get great people that, like you said earlier, that you know and also that you don't know but and want to know. But at the same time, things like outlets and consistent Wi-Fi and coffee and water. I mean, these are the things that it's like going to Burning Man. It's like the little things are the things you start to miss the most at a crazy, crazy event like South by Southwest. And for those who haven't been, and this will be your first year, do register for the Tech Set Lounge and try to program around it. Because you won't do everything you want to do. You won't be everywhere you want to be. And the ability to get anywhere is incredibly hampered. You'll be doing a lot of walking, or you will be taking a lot of the pedicabs. And do yourself a favor, negotiate a price before you get in that pedicab, because they will charge you multiples of what you think you're going to get charged when you get to your destination, because it's hard work, as they'll tell you. And it is. But at the same time, this is an experience for you to define, and we're just trying to be part of it. Maybe a little satellite in your South by Southwest universe.
It's an oasis among the craziness, Brian.
An oasis, I love that.
And it's not just the kind of thing, guys, that it's just there for an hour. It's not just a little bit of a display or an activation. It's going the whole time, so you can always stop in. And don't think for a minute that you have to be some famous person on the internet. You don't have to be the founder of Meerkat. You don't have to be Brian Solis. You don't have to be, somebody that a lot of people already know to partake in this. It's not an insiders club or anything like that. And I'm also going to drop a link over here. If you guys have not already signed up, which I suggest you do, please do check that link out after this. Sign up right away. I don't know if you've got like a waiting list or anything like that, but certainly you're going to want to make sure that you're fully registered on that. And Brian, I know we did get started a little bit late. Do you have time for a few other questions, just for people to hear?
Yeah, I have a few minutes and I got to go race to the airport.
Okay, great. So we'll skip like the whole tell us about yourself. If you guys are on the internet, you know who Brian Solis is. I don't know what to tell you, but
we'll just have to do a part 2 conversation for that one.
For sure. So just in the broader spectrum of South by Southwest Interactive, what would you expect that the big focus this year is going to be? So we talked a lot about the lounge, but what would you say other things going on? What's got your interest this year? What are you looking out for?
Oh man, this is a hard one. I have one of the things, because Stephanie and I also do the Tech Set Friday night opening party, which is also going to be 9 years. So just getting through those 2 hurdles it takes our eye off the ball for the rest of South by Southwest. I almost had another special guest that was going to join me this year in terms of a celebrity on the main stage, and it just fell apart. I am now. I'm gonna have to get an agent involved in all this stuff. So I'm looking forward to honestly seeing some great people, watching how the event itself sort of changes in terms of what those branded experiences are around the city. Of course, parties. I'm getting a little too old for a lot of these things, but I will tell you that there's always an amazing array of like famous rappers, rock stars who are playing some party that you can get into and get up close and intimate with them. But I'm also looking for the alternative things. Last year, Soho House opened up a pop-up experience that turned out to be very cool. So I keep my eye on the periphery. So one of the things that I'm going to do in the next week is start Googling the lists. All right, there's always someone who maintains a list of everything that's going on at South by Southwest, and really look at start planning the absolute must. Right, there's the things you have to do. There's the things you want to do. And then there's the thing you'll never get to. And there's 2 places that I am all the time. One is the Tech Set Lounge, obviously, and it's open from, I can't even remember the hours. It's like 8 to 6 or 9 to 6. It's all day. But the other one is the Brand Innovators space. My friend Mark Sternberg runs a very cool thing for brands and technology companies there. That's always a lot of fun. But then it's just all the pop-up stuff that happens that I like. this is what really gave birth to Twitter, I believe, and then Foursquare was just really seeing where your friends were at any moment. You have to, I try to leave myself open to serendipity. So I have a few very key friends. One of which is gregarious here on the list that I'll always see what he's doing, and other friends like that, and that'll be my thing. The other one though is that I don't know the time yet, but if you keep an eye out for at Brian Solis, I will have my first solo speech at South by for the first time in like 4 or 5 years. I'm usually the last person who wants to have a solo spot, even though it would be good for my book sales if I took that on every year. But this is sort of a special coming out of the cave and getting in front of everybody to talk about the importance of experience. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Absolutely. And for when serendipity doesn't work out, you always have the lounge to crash back into.
Well, the thing about the lounge is there's so much party planning. There's so much conference planning. They right outside the lounges are big screen televisions that stream some of the keynotes so that you could always be in close proximity. So there's I think that's just what makes South by Southwest what it is. It's that you'll always tell the first year people, because they'll have this crazy schedule of everything that they want to do and go they want to see, and all the conferences that they want to attend and all the parties, and then
they're dead. They're just passed on the couch.
and the rest of us will be in the lounge or some bar so whether it's the Four Seasons at night, the after hours party, or the JW Marriott, I'll be hosting after parties at both. Every single night I will probably be at both hotels. So do come by, and you're allowed to buy me a glass of great champagne.
You know it, man. That's great. So, hey, since we're talking about serendipity, and I do want to be respectful of your time, I know we got a little bit late start. Just in terms of personal branding, a lot of people have seen a lot of your pictures, and you usually have like a magnifying glass or a monocle. So you do a great job in standing out. You always kind of have, you're probably getting it right now, right?
No. I was going to see if I had one here. I might.
You always kind of must have one like in your pocket or something. There we are. Look at that, guys. I've got to get an animated GIF of that one. That's great.
This is one I haven't taken a picture with, actually. This one's very cool. It's an antique. It's
Ooh, nice, dude. Look at that. That is a picture right there. You got to bring that with you. Then everybody's got. But I feel like so many people, like, they just don't really get personal branding. So little things like this. So you're the monocle. Like, even if people don't know who you are, what you do, you can stand out in a crowd because they know what you look like, and they know that you're wearing that kind of a thing, right? But what would you say, because not everybody has the benefit of going for 10 years and writing all sorts of books and has a huge following, what would you tell people if let's say there is their first time, how would you tell people to stand out if they're just kind of starting out now?
Oh, wow. All right. So look, the monocle's just a thing, right? It happened one crazy night. I think it was in Paris, and it's just been something that's stuck, right? And so, but it's not the brand, right? It's a lot like when I talk about experiences. So this is why I tackled this in my new book, right? Which I have to plug at some point. The idea was an experience is not one thing; it's everything, right? And so it's all of the little things that you do. Hopefully, they're all moving in the same direction that tend to engage people and make them want to be part of a community that's bigger than just themselves, right? Because we're now, the thing about personal branding in 2016 versus, I don't know, when I started my career back, oh my gosh, I don't even want to say how long, in the mid 90s is when I really started to formally invest in a personal brand. Everybody today is now what I call an accidental narcissist, right? So the more social media you have and use, the more you expect to build a community around what you say and what you do, and there's this sort of misinterpretation that by default creates a community or an audience, right? We all have an audience. The thing is that our audiences have audiences who have audiences now, and so to stand out, you really have to go outside of your own element and understand that people are more important than you. People have less time than you. People have a lot of interests that you may or may not be part of. And so in order to really build something that's incredible is you have to, number one, be unique. I guess the Monocle is unique. But two is you have to have a unique voice and a unique perspective. And it has to be incredibly empathetic. So, and I say that hoping you hear that, because too many people think that in order to build a personal brand, you have to be ostentatious, you have to be loud, you have to be you have to be the other side of the argument, you have to be a troll, you know, all of these things that that's not a long-term game. The long-term game is understanding what the people who you're trying to connect with, what are they talking about? What are the questions that they're asking? Where are they going? And you have to be present. You can't just build your own channels. You have to be present, consistently helpful, useful, engaging, entertaining in places outside of the properties you own, and then bring those things back to your own properties. So I'll share some of my best stuff. Even to this day, I will still hustle like I'm building something out of my garage in other places.
Never. Absolutely.
Yeah, other places, and then I'll bring them to my own and share them. But you have to also recognize that there's no one holistic brand anymore. So there are slivers of which different people engage, and hopefully you bring them all together in this nice little sphere of brand, and that is things like the Monocle, things like sharing. I tend to write a lot of notes that are introspective. When I'm traveling, I'm always on the road, so I'll write some type of note or observation or thought, and I'll take a picture of it, and that'll be what I put on Instagram. I'm writing research reports or books or blog posts. So my interests are all over the place. The thing about them is that if you look, there are slivers of different industries, different topics, but they all come together in very nice ways. So I wouldn't say I have any one audience, and I have to uniquely try to engage each and every one of those slivers consistently. Otherwise, I won't. It's very easy to especially with attention spans today, to be forgotten. Now, with that said, though, there are people like Gary Vaynerchuk who have a machine behind it, and they are incredible at what they do, and their brands are the result of that. And so you can only get so big on your own until you need help. And I'm at that sort of. I've been there for years where I can't really get any bigger unless I get some help, and I have not done that yet. However, you have to also be happy with who you are and where you are. I think that's part of the thing that we all need, I believe, in this. It's too easy to get caught up in the mechanism of trying to brand and trying to market, and you sort of lose sight of who you are. You lose sight of authenticity, and it's just hard to emotionally connect with someone. And so this idea of empathy, I think, is at the core of any good community. I mean, some of these folks here, on the list, like Xanology, Gregarious, these are people I've known for my goodness, 10 years, and to keep that means you can't be a brand, right? You just have to be a friend, and I think that's what people want to be able to see in you.
Very insightful, man. I love everything you say. I haven't read the book yet, but I have the link ready and willing to go. Everybody's got to go out.
There it is. Well, the book is ironically or purposefully about experience and how to design experiences that people want. So hopefully that's what helps.
Absolutely. And as you said, the attention span of people, everybody just wants to see the next cat on a treadmill or whatever. And audiences are so fickle that you have to always continue to scale up. And certainly Xanology brings up a great point that you're humble. You don't have a huge team behind you, and you don't need a huge team behind you. You don't have to be the loudest one in the room. And you don't need to be so flashy and all of that. If your message is good enough, people will see it. Of course, you have to continue to touch all of those people.
Right, exactly.
Never stop.
Right on, man. Well, with that, I'm going to go catch my flight, and Brian, we'll have to continue the conversation. But thank you for the opportunity. Please do register for the Tech Set Lounge. Keep an eye out for the Friday night party. Take a look at the book, and Brian, I'll see you out in Austin, Texas.
Yes, sir. Looking forward, man. Safe trip, safe travels. Thank you so much for taking the time, even though you're getting ready for a trip right now. And very, very much looking forward to another successful tech set.
Thanks, man. All right, bye, everybody.
All right. See you guys. Have a good one.